How's it going, guys? Lewis and Daniela here with the Oneonta Mic Club, and tonight we have Patrick from Drug Church joining us, and we're real happy to have him.
Thank you for having me.
So how does it feel being back in Oneonta? Because I know you guys were here last semester.
We have close ties to the area, and we've played here before. I like it. Stoniana, Broniana,
Stoniana, both.
Honiana. You know what I mean?
We've got a lot of nicknames.
We got a lot of nicknames.
Some that we live up to and some that we don't.
We like it here.
Cool.
This spot, and you make college towns look okay.
That's really good because most people
Nah,
might say the opposite.
We're from Albany, which is it's
pretty close.
It's a stink dump, though. You know what I mean? You guys have like.
I mean,
you're nestled in kind
the
of
hills.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's quaint.
I'm in a stinky valley, so this is nice.
So how have things been going since the release of Paul Walker this summer?
Really well, actually. We go into everything with the expectation that no one will like it. So when then it turns out that people like it, it's very fulfilling. It's a surprise.
Yeah, because you guys got a great review from AP, and the press was on it. Was awesome. So
yeah, it was. Again, we're really surprised because it's not weird music, but it's has the potential to alienate. And when we found out that people weren't deeply alienated, we were a little disappointed, but also a little thrilled. So
that's awesome.
Gives us the opportunity to do things like people ask us to go on tours and shit now. So it's
that's super cool. What makes Paul Walker different from your earlier releases, do you think?
The gentlemen that play instruments got better at that, which is cool. I got no better vocally. However, you could argue that it's lyrically a little stronger, a little more focused. Having Paul Walker the person sort of as my muse, you know what I mean, sort of helped a great deal. It's a very focused record, I would say.
For sure.
So you guys are going on a full string of dates with dads after this, and how excited are you for that?
You know, I'm really excited because everybody tells me they're total a-holes. So, like, I've never toured with a-holes before. Everybody I've ever toured with has been, like, kind of a sweet person. If these dudes live up to their reputation and are monster douchebags, it'll be, like, I like new experiences, and this will be cool. So I'm pretty excited. You know, I don't know anything about their music, but if they're assholes, that'll be a fun experience.
Yeah, maybe you just have to kind of take the same mentality with the record, like just assume that you won't like them, and then if you do like them, then you're pleasantly surprised.
I'm going into this as they are monsters, because you know when you talk to people about other people, you never hear their good qualities. Nobody ever says, you know what, she is a very sweet young woman. You know what I mean? They'll always say, she borrowed my stockings, never returned them. You know what I mean? Like,
or she returned them.
Or she returned them in some situation.
And they look like this.
Right. So people never they never give you credit for your own. Only what is it? You're remembered by your last shitty thing you did, right? So dads apparently are remembered by their last shitty thing by a couple people, and that's what I've had in my ear. So I'm now excited to have that experience.
Because you're not really sure what could happen. They could.
And also, it's not like they can really. It's not like they're. What's the worst that can happen? You know what I mean? What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
They're not tough guys. Who cares?
Yeah, they're not gonna fight you on the
exactly. Whatever. So it'll be fun being around different sort of people, I think.
No, for sure. Let's see. What else do we have? We know that but several of your members are also in another project called Self-Defense Family.
Mm-hmm.
And they're slated to go on tour with Touche, right, in UK and Europe. How do you guys juggle having members split?
That's me that has to do that juggling, and the answer is that right now Drug Church is the enthusiastic tour monsters. They want to be out all day, every day, whereas Self-Defense Family is sort of a little bit more laid back. We're doing more this year. We have an LP coming out this year, so
cool.
We're doing more than some years. We're going to be doing that Touche tour, and we're going to be doing some touring in the U.S. But neither gets priority right now. They're able to work around each other because I do a lot of the planning for both bands. So because I do a lot of the planning for both bands, a lot of the members don't know that I have to occasionally say no to opportunities. I just lie to everybody and don't tell people things.
Are both of
deception is the way to go.
It's
always. Are both of the bands signed? I know Drug Church is signed to No Sleep.
Drug Church is signed to No Sleep. Self-Defense Family we're with Death Wish.
Okay.
So familiar with that label.
Because Touche is also on Death Wish, right? So is it difficult having to deal with two labels?
No, it's actually, interestingly enough, Self-Defense has put out put out records with, we've put out like 20 records, and of those, I would say 15 of them are with different labels. And I love labels, I really do. I think I'm grateful for anyone that gives me money to do things that,
Of course.
that I find fulfilling. So even the worst label that I've dealt with, the most irresponsible or the, you know, not on top of things, I'm still grateful for. So I have a nice rapport with the labels that I've worked with, and in this case, both No Sleep and Death Wish are not assholes. So it makes it really very easy.
Yeah, no, because there's definitely a general stigma that people just have against labels in general. They think labels are the bad guys when
Well,
most of the time you think that they would want to help.
There's good and bad to be said, because there are 100% bands that do not need labels. You know, I mean, there's many that don't need labels. I hate mailing things. I'd rather have my arm broken than go to a post office. I think it's just the most mundane, boring thing I've ever heard of in my life. And if you don't like to mail things,
Have somebody else do it for you.
you need somebody who wants to do it for you. So, and I don't want to say that that's the only purpose of a label. Labels actually do a lot for you, but not everybody needs them. And if you don't need them, don't have one. That's the short answer. Is I personally love them, but not everybody needs to. And if you're the sort of person that does not need them, just
Don't jump in.
just avoid. You know what I mean? Like it's I don't need a dog walker because I don't have a dog, so I don't call them. You know what I mean? So it's even that easy.
You don't need a doll walker. You just needed a paw walker.
I just need a paw walker.
So you still believe in a do-it-yourself mentality?
For certain projects, I do everything myself. For most of the bands I'm in, I do a great deal. I mean, it depends. Do-it-yourself mentality is it's. I'd like to know where what the logical limit of that is, because, for example, both bands, both Drug Church and Self Defense Family, have a booking agent. The reason for that is because a booking agent knows what the hell he or she is doing, whereas I don't. If I could fix a bus myself, but it's going to take me 200 YouTube videos and time out of my life that I could be creating things that I actually find fulfilling. So the idea that I would do something myself just for the sake of doing it myself is absolutely crazy to me. So I would personally always rather hire somebody that knows what the hell they're doing than for me to, like, some people like to do their own plumbing. I don't know, that's not me. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather go be doing the things that I find fulfilling. So the do-it-yourself thing is, you know, like when we get our records pressed, I don't actually extract those minerals from nature and then go to and then I don't refine them, and then I don't go to the pressing plant that I built with my own hands and press them myself. So really, like, what does DIY mean? You know, I just do what I'm personally comfortable with, and the world can kiss my ass, basically.
Yeah, and then get help where you need it. Because I feel like maybe for most bands that like to publicly express do-it-yourself and that mentality, it's more of like a branding thing to try and, like, hey, we do it, like, as far as do-it-yourself can go. They're like, we're DIY, like us more than somebody on Major League.
Which makes me barf, because I don't care about what you do. I don't care if your band, like Dads, we talked about them being douches. If they are, I don't know that. if they are douches, I don't care at all. If I like their music, I like their music. I have no idea what bearing somebody's DIY sensibilities would have on their music.
Yeah.
If it sounds like something that challenges me, excites me, whatever.
Catches your interest.
It's almost become kind of like an elitist mentality, I've noticed.
Yeah, but only among punk people, because punk music has so little going for it musically 99% of the time that it has to build all these things around it, right? So, like, you know, we're the DIY band, we're the political band, you know, we're the...
It's a selling point.
It's a selling point.
Motivational.
Right, and to me, I got no time for that shit. Just give me some music I like. If I like you as a person, that's a bonus. But if I hate your ass, but you play good music,
Then I like your music.
I like your music.
Yeah. I mean, most bands that are probably the most DIY don't need to broadcast that they're DIY. They're just going to do what they need to do and to make the music and to...
100%. That, you know, that mentality of the guy that's always talking about having sex with a bunch of girls.
Probably
not as much as the quiet guy. You know what I mean? And that's it goes across the board. Why are you wearing the flag of DIY? For what? I don't know. Are you marching on something?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like, is there something to benefit from wearing? So, those flags that people love so much, I would need somebody to explain to me exactly what that has to do with your end product. Like, is your music good? I don't know. because I really don't care about your vinyl. I really don't care about this packaging that you did yourself. I really don't care. I just want to
As much as you can appreciate it. Like,
give me something to connect with. Like, give me music, preferably.
Cool.
Are there any tour dates that you're really, really excited for on this upcoming slate with dads?
You know what? Same way that I'm excited at the possibility of dads being douches, I'm excited to play the worst places. Because the worst places have personality, and I can bitch about them. And I'm very comfortable bitching about things. So like St. Louis is a hellhole, and I'm excited. Houston, it's the worst place I've ever been in my friggin' life. And I'm excited because it's just like, oh, a challenge. You know what I mean? Because like, what is the purpose of doing anything if it's not like a fun, interesting challenge, right? Getting into Houston is a challenge because the whole time you just want to turn around. You know what I mean? You're like, oh,
and
damn.
never go back.
Yeah, you're like, damn, what a hellhole. St. Louis, it's a challenge. So I like the dumps. You know, so I'm excited for some of those hellholes. We're playing Lansing, Michigan. If you told me you're going to Lansing, Michigan, and I said could I cut off my hand instead? You know what I mean? I would consider it, but because it's a challenge, you know, it's cool. I like that.
It's a good mentality to have. Are there any places that aren't on the schedule that you guys wish you could have hit? Any places you like to play personally?
Personally, I only like to play Boston, Philadelphia, and New York. That's the only places I like to play. If you ask me, hey, what are the best places to play? I'd say, unless you're in an ignorant band that appeals to morons, major cities, obviously. You know, I mean, there's just more human beings that are going to have an interest in that. By the time you're getting to Oklahoma City, you know, if you can fill a room in Oklahoma City, it doesn't speak well for your band. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't say anything good about you. If you're bringing out 30 people in Oklahoma City, that's okay. If you're bringing out 500 in Oklahoma City, there's a good chance that your band has a sensibility made for morons. Don't be afraid to say it. It's okay. They're rednecks there. It's okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I've never been to Oklahoma,
so
I can't really pass judgment on it.
I can confirm this for you.
Okay, I'll take your word on it, man. Because I have no.
Certain places.
I have no plans to go to Oklahoma City.
Well, you should just to see it, but there's certain places you just want. It's better to fail because it speaks more highly of you to fail in certain places than it does to succeed.
Not a bad way to look at it. Yeah. Oneonta in general has a giant and extremely passionate group of musicians or a musician base. Do you have any maybe pieces of advice for them as they're continuing to do what they do?
You know, I sat in on a music business class in Albany at St. Rose the other day, and there was a number of kids in the class who were musicians, and they hoped to do something with it. But it seemed like everybody had the attitude that they could just be really good at music, and that would somehow pay off. You know what I mean? And not to be a cynic and say that it does not. You know what I mean? Certainly, you have to be good at what you do. You know, like that's just reality. But there's a lot of people who are good at what they do, and there's arguably always going to be somebody better than you, right? So my advice to anybody is to either be prepared for a very long stretch, which is totally okay. Like if you want to do it like as a war of attrition, where you just do the right thing for so long that people notice, that's one way to do things, and that's actually what I do typically, and that's good. You know what I mean? But if you don't want to take 10 years for anybody to notice, if you want to be like a rock god at 23 and like, you know what I mean, like all that nonsense, you have to do the other sort of work. You don't have to do that grinding work where you just keep at it. You have to do the bang, everybody pay attention to me sort of thing, you know? So you got to decide which one you have the constitution for and do that. So like if you wanted to be big at 23, like Miley Cyrus, I can't open a news site without seeing her stupid face, right? The song I just heard from her was a nightmare. It was fucking terrible, right? But the reason that people will continue to talk about it forever, and she's aware of this, is because she was just more outraged. She saw, like, okay, people paid attention to me. Now they're paying slightly less attention to me. I have to be more outrageous than I was previously. Now, if you love music, that's an offensive idea because it has nothing to do with music. But if you're a pragmatic person that wants to succeed, you know, I think her music's an abomination. She should go to prison for how bad her music is. But who can argue with the fact that she has limited talent and is more successful than most, not because people are throwing a ton of money at her. People do that for a ton of pop performers. They push them and dump money into them. Not all of them hit. The ones that hit are typically the ones that either resonate with people on an emotional level or are such gaudy, over-the-top assholes that you can't help but pay attention. Lady Gaga is a no talent so far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Like vocally, what does she have over anybody? There's a million women who were pushed into a similar situation with a similar financial backing who have not 1/1,000,000th of her success.
But she pushed the envelope in a certain way.
You wore a dress made out of bologna. Now, that makes you look like an asshole. You look like a clueless, tone-deaf jerk-off when you do that. But you're very successful. Kanye West.
Get viewers.
Kanye West. Kanye West is...
self-proclaimed creative genius.
Right. And you just repeat something often enough, you go over the top with it, and people pay attention. And that's... I'm not advocating that this is good for anybody watching this. I'm not saying that this is necessarily good. But I am saying it's an undeniable reality. And when you tell yourself it's not, you look like a bigger asshole than Lady Gaga wearing a fucking baloney dress. Because you just... The sun is shining and you say it's raining. It's not. It's people are idiots and they're attracted to the most outrageous thing possible. So you can either do things like I do on a very small scale where there's like no chance of like larger success, or if you want to be successful, you have to be a jerk off. And that's it. Like, accept it. Quick aside, I worked for a guy that worked in film and television. He was on reality. He was on a reality show. And every day he would come home from this reality show and say, they just want me to do this jokey jerk-off shit. Like, they want me to embarrass myself, and I just can't do it. And as a result, they didn't renew his contract, whereas guys that were willing to debase themselves, willing to clown it up,
Made some more money.
made a ton more money. And that's a choice. There's nothing wrong with the choice that my former boss made. There's nothing wrong with being a clown. There might be. But it's a choice. And that's what I would say to any musician is, like,
Make your choice.
steel yourself for one or the other. And don't complain when... Like, if I complained right now about my band's not being mega big, I would sound like a jerk-off because I play music that isn't capable of being really big. It's just, I'm not doing the right thing. And also, I'm not wearing a baloney dress. So, like, you know, just, how hard is that? Just fucking wear a baloney dress. That's what I'm saying. My advice to musicians, wear a baloney dress.
Wear a baloney dress. From
So,
the mouth of Pat.
Yeah, that's the best advice I could give.
Alright.
I mean, that's pretty much all we got prepared. Is there anything else you wanted to say for our viewers?
Nah, I mean, just maybe make it vegan bologna. Be considerate.
Vegan bologna, alright. I'm gonna have to note that. But thanks for coming to talk to us.
Music